30-inch plus ride height. So we're tiptoeing just a little bit here. You got the key, not keyless start. And we got ride mode change up here. So we'll just go over the controls really quickly while we got a minute. High and low beam up here, cruise control. We got some toggle for the screen here. Back, blinker, horn. Now I rode this bike before and had some issue with all of these controls kind of being so close together. You know, I kept hitting the horn when I was trying to hit the blinker. And we're in sport mode right off the bat. So we're gonna get into it. So let's just continue with the controls here. You got your power and then ignition all in one switch, and then the ride mode toggle here. Oh, let me see if I can find where it is. There we go. So let's just start off in standard, just so we can, you know, get a feel of the bike before we get all crazy up in here. Got the circular mirrors here. I'm not a huge fan of circle mirrors because, I mean, you can see how small they are, and you know you're not going to get a wide range of view out of a mirror like that. But no worries. Let's get it back here to the main display. Right on the standard display, we've got compass, temperature outside. This looks like you got the fuel gauge, which also tells you your miles to empty, and then the odometer. Tachometer here in miles per hour right in the middle, and then your gear. This display seems smaller than the old FTR display. Like I said, I've ridden this bike before, but still very clear. All right, here we go. And we got I won't call them rear foot controls, but they're right underneath you. And this at 5'6" and a 30-inch inseam here, this bike fits me really well. Other than the tiptoes when we're stopped, you know, if I wanted to get a full flat foot down, I could really easily. But for a shorter rider, this bike feels great. We've got fully adjustable suspension in the monoshock and back, I believe, and I'll put all these specs up for you on the screen so you can see it. Standard mode's very nice, very manageable. You know, it's a sportier bike, so if I roll on that throttle, you know, we're getting some good response out of that. The clutch engagement is a pretty standard one. You know, it's somewhere right in the middle, not a real late clutch engagement. I like the tank here, which seems a little bit less wide than the previous tank before. It's a 3+ gallon tank, so not a bad size, but the size is perfect for me to hug it here with my knees. This model here does not have the tank guard, so I can feel the paint, you know, kind of slick on my pants. So if you're going to be wearing whatever riding pants or denim, whatever you're wearing, to help maintain that nice finish on the tank, you're probably going to want to put some guards on it. But just right for gripping with my knees at my height. I don't know if you're a little bit taller, your knees are going to be up higher. You'll still be able to grip that tank with your knees, so no worries. Stuck behind a car here, so we can't really get on it. But very smooth ride. You know, for a sportier bike, you know, we're not into any like real bumpy road or terrain. So we'll find out if we can get into some potholes or something, if I can test how it's going to feel in there. But we haven't even got out of second gear here, and this bike feels great. Yeah, nice right in the middle clutch engagement. Ooh, yes. Love the feel of this bike. The riding position is nice. It feels just like that, pretty similar to my Super Duke that I ride, the 2015. Whereas I'm not really leaning forward here to get to these handlebars. I do have long-ish arms though, so if you have shorter arms, you're going to lean forward a little bit further. But you know, it's not putting real pressure on my wrists or anything. And I feel like if I wanted to sit a little more upright, I can. Sometimes when you're riding on a sportier bike, if you try to sit up, you have, at least to me, I have a little less control of the throttle, and then it's a little bit and then it's a little bit dicey when it comes to clutch control and reaching for that front brake. But I can sit up pretty nicely here, still have control of the throttle, still have control of the brake and clutch, so that's not a big deal. All right, we've spent some time here in first gear and second gear. Been in standard mode the whole time. Let's throw it into sport mode. So I mentioned that this switch here switches your mode. You've got to go into the menu here, which is what this does. This is going to toggle from your standard display to your menu. They've got the whole gamut of things that you can do here. There's even a USB port here for you to charge a device, maybe your navigation, but that's always cool on a bike. Bluetooth controls, you can brighten the screen, you can put it on auto here, and then turn off traction control, all here in the menu. You got all these settings here, oil life, which is kind of a cool thing, cylinder deactivation, you can set the time, and got all kinds of things like the theme, your Bluetooth device list, language, system information. So I mean, got your little computer here which gives you control of a lot of different things. So there's a little picture here, and I'm not sure what it is because I didn't read anything about this, but there's a little X that looks like maybe they've turned a cylinder off.
Since I like to provide the best information in my videos, let me cut away from the in-helmet sound and give you information regarding rear cylinder deactivation directly from Indian's website. So, rear cylinder deactivation was designed as an aid to reduce engine and exhaust heat to the rider. Cylinder deactivation turns off the rear cylinder when the engine gets hot and the bike is stopped. This provides enhanced comfort in slow-moving traffic and warm weather conditions. The rear cylinder will reactivate when throttle is applied. So, everything that I say moving forward regarding better performance with the rear cylinder activated, please ignore. And now back to the video.
Maybe a little bit. Oh yeah. So, yeah, it does feel a little bit different. Even in standard mode, yeah. That feels nice. That's kind of a cool feature, and I bet you it saves you some gas too. So, one of the things that I'll definitely have to do my research on it. How did that come to be a feature on this bike? I mean, I think that's really cool. All right, so we got all LED lighting here, and a lot of standard features here on the FTR S. Still got that standard 1203 cc engine on it. It's a liquid-cooled V-twin. Ooh, I don't want to get caught in the middle of the intersection here. We're gonna do it anyway because our guide's here. He said we could do it. So I didn't even check to see if the turn signal has to be auto canceling, because I've turned it on already, and it turned off all on by itself. That's kind of cool, and I haven't had any trouble. So I don't know if maybe they worked it out in the engineering or the re-engineering of these switches over here, but I have had less trouble finding the turn signal, and maybe it's because I've already ridden this bike, even though it was a couple years ago, that it's not as hard to find. I don't remember if I was always hitting this back button, or if I think I was always hitting the horn instead of the turn signal. Now, heat wise, you know, because we've been mostly in town, we've got this heat shield here on the exhaust, which is helping me out a little bit, but I can definitely feel that exhaust on my leg. But once you get riding and your legs away from that exhaust, it's not bad at all. You know, because this is a sportier, Sport Naked-ish kind of bike, no problem with lean angles on this bike when you're talking about getting into turns. Waiting to turn here, even though we've got it, because we want to make sure that everybody's with us. Here we go. See, even in standard mode, once we get into it. Yeah, that is nice. Very stable. I know that the FTR S also comes with stability and traction control. Traction control you can turn off, but I know that in cornering there's a stability control engineered into this bike that makes it so it feels very, very confident in the turns. And I could definitely attest to that. All right, let's we're getting towards that, probably about the halfway mark of the ride. Let's pop this baby into sport mode and see what she's got. All right. Ooh, a little bit torquey, a little bit touchier here in the throttle, and this is kind of the worst. This is where we would get into it if it was wide open. So we got a little bit of bumpy back road here, and the suspension feels great. The seat is very comfortable, you know, especially for a sportier bike seat. It's got that nice amount of firmness, but also it's soft enough that it doesn't feel like in a long ride you're gonna hit the bottom of the pan on that seat and need to pull over because of a sore rear end. So that's nice too. This bike has I believe it's a standard Akrapovic exhaust, but it's relatively quiet. You know, you're not gonna. I don't have an Akrapovic exhaust. My KTM has a Works competition exhaust, and it's loud. So this bike, even when we get on it, it's still relatively quiet. You know, if you're a Akrapovic fan and you know what it's supposed to sound like or know how loud it's supposed to be, let me know in the comments, because I've heard some Akrapovic exhausts that sound different than this. And this is the I think it's a 2 into 1 into 2. Full exhaust, not just the slip-ons there at the end. And see, if I was on a solo ride, I would be testing out the leaning back and forth. Oh, I know we're not supposed to do that, but I really wanted to get into this out here, and we got stuck behind somebody. It'd be nice to kind of reset, like just go on another lap. I think we're gonna get a chance to pass here. Here we go. Fifth gear. Oh, red light! You're killing me. Shifting's very nice. I'm not even gonna try it out because I don't think there's like a quick shifter on this bike, but shifting's really smooth. Very sporty, and the feel all around of this bike. Really enjoying it. This is a much better ride than I got the first time. You're gonna get a nice wide sweeping turn here, and I wish that we were going a little faster so I could lean it over a little better. But yeah, super confident, even though this is just kind of like a really minor lean, because we're not going too fast. Yeah. Definitely, if I didn't already have my Super Duke, which I love, this bike would be a contender for a new bike. I mean, it starts out at 15 grand, which is a little pricey for this kind of bike, but I mean, it does have quite a bit of standard features which warrant the price tag a little bit. But yeah, Indian has become more popular, and in the United States, I'm not sure around the world, but in the United States, it's become more and more popular. You know, I didn't used to see, you know, big trucks or cars who would sport an Indian sticker in their windshield, or sorry, in their rear window, or on their car. But I'm seeing more and more of them lately, and it's showing that pride in the brand. And once you get that established, you know, you're going to have loyal loyal customers who come back to buy a second and third bike. And yeah, Indian is setting themselves up for a bright future. When I say setting themselves up, they've been doing just fine for quite a few years now. All right, getting towards the end here, you guys. If I haven't answered any questions about this bike that you might have had, make sure you leave them in the comments. I'll do my best. Oops, no turning here. I'll do my best to answer them, and if I can't, I'm sure that some kind writer in the comments will oblige answering your question. But again, ABS comes standard on this bike, and it feels really, the brakes feel really good. Stopping power is excellent. They don't feel super grippy, so that when you really smash down on that front and rear brake at the same time, it doesn't feel like you're going to lock it up, which you wouldn't, because ABS is standard. Let me see if you can turn off traction control, but it doesn't look like you can turn off the ABS. One of the things I don't talk about a lot on a bike like this is slow speed maneuvering. And because we've had to do so much of it here on this test ride, I can confidently say that this bike does well in slow speed maneuvering. Didn't get a chance to really open it up, but I mean, this bike gets on it. We never got out of fifth gear, which, you know, isn't uncommon on a test ride, but there was plenty of bike left to go in fifth gear. So you're gonna enjoy the FTR. I've always loved the way that the bike aesthetically looks. The styling, they've got some new colorways for 2022, so you know, they're freshening things up. Like I said, I don't know if the engineering is different in this instrument cluster or what you got here in the controls on the left, but see, it almost came to a stop there and didn't have to put a foot down. This bike is really well balanced. But the FTR is still a strong bike in its class. I would highly recommend it. If you're thinking about it already, definitely give it a test ride, because I think you might fall in love with this bike. Oh, I thought we were turning right there. Alright guys, that is the end of this ride. If you liked it, you found it helpful, make sure you hit that thumbs up down there, which is the like button. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. Guys, if you are out there riding, please be safe. Be kind to one another. My name is Eric. I'm that one guy. And I am